Hello, this is T Chapman 500. Welcome to another Solar Lander development video. In this video, we are taking a look at a feature that I decided a few days ago to implement, and that is axes that can be reassigned in-game. So if we take a look here, we can use the keyboard to move the rotation controls, or actually, all the controls, including the throttle. And you notice that they're not going instantaneously to one side. That is because of this thing called the inertia. So the inertia is a measure of how much resistance the control has to change. So in this case it's not much, and if we set it to 0, then it's instantaneous. We can also go into axis mode and assign a joystick axis. So as you can see, I've assigned axis 5 to the rotation. That's just the twist axis on my X52. So we can do the same thing for the X translation, Y translation. Oops, set the modes to axis. I think I'll make it so that if you use a joystick axis, it'll automatically switch modes. And before I assign the throttle, I want to show you how the slew mode works. You've seen the toggle mode, and the axis mode, well, allows you to use a joystick axis or something like that. The slew mode, if I were to push the button to increase the throttle, and then release it like that, you can see that the throttle stops increasing. Then I can push the button to decrease the throttle, release it, and it stops there. Now the throttle inertia by default is a bit higher than what it would be for the other controls, which in this case it's 0.25. But let's assign it to an axis, go to axis mode. Because I want to make sure that the control is at 1 when it's all the way forward, I'm gonna click the invert button. Now it's pulled all the way back. Now it's pushed all the way forward. And then I can assign these controls. So I'll just assign the self-destruct, assign the kill rotation, assign the stage, assign the undock, assign the mute fuel warning, and assign assign the HUD mode. So there we go. And as for these assignments, I can clear them. And if we go to toggle mode, there's no response from them. So let's go back to axis mode. And one thing I want to mention, the null zone. So the throttle is the perfect axis to do this demonstration with, and I see I forgot to change the label on this one. So if we increase the null zone to maximum, as I gradually increase the throttle, there is no change. Eventually, I'll get to the point where it's at the null zone, and it starts increasing. Now if I decrease this, and then increase this other null zone, well, now I have two huge null zones at either end of the control. So I can put this back down to 0. And now let's adjust the sensitivity. First I'm going to send it back to minimum. And I'm going to make a relatively large adjustment on the throttle. And it's just over halfway physically forward. And reducing the sensitivity means reducing the response I get. If I were to increase the sensitivity, it is now almost 3/4 of the way to maximum. So this uses an exponent function to determine the response you get from your inputs. So 50%, by the way, is linear. So if you want small initial responses, you set the sensitivity to below 0.5. And if you want large initial responses, you set the sensitivity to above 0.5. And I've moved the throttle maybe 10%, less than 10%, and I got this response from it. Also, I have the controls grouped into different tabs. By the way, Unity only supports 20 buttons per joystick, so be aware of that when you look to assign these controls. This is eventually going to change so that you don't have an axis, because if we go to graphics, and let me zoom in here. So if I were to move this, you can see that it's moving in increments. That is why I want to remove this axis control from the system. Now, some of the other things I have, well, everything that's going to be implemented in this update, which means everything that's currently in the game, is going to be available like this, and anything that's not implemented, the controls will be darkened like this, and you won't be able to use them. And there may be a not implemented label. So Steam Workshop, not coming in this update, so I'll basically just gray out this tab. And then the Danger Zone, well, not going to be in this update, so, well, actually I think this will be in the Physics Overhaul update. And it's probably not going to be labeled Danger Zone, it's going to be labeled something like Other, and there will be another set of tabs like what we have here. And in that sub-tab group will probably be something labeled Danger Zone. One more thing, by the way. I've been doing a little bit of experimentation with Unity's new input system. However, I will not be using the new input system in this update of Solar Lander. If I use it at all, it will be in an update that's after the Physics Overhaul update. So right now, I'm using the old input manager, which is pretty bad, and that's what we're stuck with for this update anyways, and maybe for future updates as well. On the bright side, you're no longer going to have a dialog box pop up before the game starts asking you what you want to do for the controls and stuff. So, that'll be it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next video. This is T Chapman 500 signing off. Okay, I fixed this incorrect label now.